Our general overview. I should mention Socrative right now is in a beta stage for version 2.0. This started, almost feels like a year ago, but I'd say about 9-10 months ago. 1.0 was out, and everybody was using that, and then all of a sudden they launched version 2.0. It did have some troubles when it first launched, so therefore they made it optional to use, but I'm going to recommend to you to use that. Kind of forget about version 1.0, because I've been using 2.0 for a while, and 99% of the time it's working fine for me. When I find a small little bug that's not looking right or something, I'll let them know. And Ben is the guy's name that is at the head of the company here. Ben's real good about taking feedback through email and putting that out to the team there. I see people nodding in the back, so maybe if you've also contacted them, they're very responsive. They want to make sure their product works very well. So you can feed them feature suggestions or when something doesn't seem right, and they will get back to you. Compatible devices, I kind of mentioned that in the beginning. You can use anything that has a browser on it, including the iPod Touch, which for my 7th and 8th graders seems to be the big popular device. If they don't have a smartphone, they might actually have an iPod Touch. And as long as they can get Wi-Fi from somewhere, some schools give it, some schools don't, that device could work as well. So really, doesn't matter the brand, the platform, as long as it's able to get on the web, it's a fair game to use it. Now the preferred browser on all these devices is Chrome, but there's one exception, and of course it's going to be Apple. If you're using an Apple device, we've found that it seems that Safari, the built-in browser, is the best option to go with. I'm a big user of Google products, so I have the Chrome browser on here, but I notice that when it comes time to type stuff in and you're using the keyboard, it doesn't give you a box to type in. And that might just be a bug that they're still working on. So if you are using an Apple device, an iPad, iPhone, iPod, I recommend using the Safari browser. Next thing to mention is our teacher paced versus student paced. You're going to see that today. We have the ability to, say I have a 10-question quiz. I could hit a button and have it go out so all of you could work independently at your own pace, leading yourself through it to the end. And me on the big dashboard, I get to see where you currently are at and what percentage of answers are getting correct. The other one, though, is which one did I mention? I just mentioned the student paced. Teacher paced, I kind of prefer that because if you're doing a lecture mode in the sense like I am now, and you want to release the question as you're ready to, you just enter in teacher mode, and with a click of a button, you can push out that question to everybody. So I'll run in both modes today so you can see that. The other options you have is the, I mentioned before, the on-the-fly versus the prepared quizzes. We'll look at those. And now it is time for you guys to participate. We're going to do our intro quiz, our teacher paced model, and you'll see in all the quiz examples I've made today, I have an SOC number. Think of that as like a serial number to the quiz. If you like the quiz that I've made and you want it to modify for your own use, you can put in that unique code, and now you are automatically given a copy of my quiz in your account. And you can go in and change questions, just kind of use it as a guideline. Now this is really great for multiple teachers, maybe across the whole department or across the whole grade level. You can now share quizzes easily instead of starting from scratch every time. So I'm going to log in now as a teacher. And I think I've done that already, so let me actually log out so you can see what it looks like. All right, so we're going to start, thank you, at beta.socrative.com. And only the teacher has to do this. The rest of you do not have to log in. You guys are going to play the role of students today, so you don't have to do this. Well, actually, you're going to type in what I see here, but I'm going to choose the orange one. You guys are all going to choose the purple one. And so for me, I have to log in because I'm a teacher. You guys won't have to log in with an account. It's going to ask you for a room number. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and do that. Go to beta.socrative.com and choose the, I believe it's purple, right? The purple button that says I'm a student. And it'll ask you for a room code. Now I think that they didn't make that very apparent. Some people see that and they're like, where do I put it in? So look carefully. It'll say room code. It's a little field box you can type in. My room code is ROBZ, R-O-B-Z. Now the room codes are not customizable. They carried mine over from version 1.0, but I believe in this version 2.0 it's just going to be a random number of, I think it's just numbers, there's no letters in it. So they are working to change that. Eventually they'll allow it so you can make your own custom room number, and that stays the same day after day after day. So when this becomes a routine thing with your students, it's just real easy to tell them, go onto the Socrative page, and they know how to do that within seconds. I can tell how many people are in. Looks like 8 of you right now are logged into our virtual room. And that number just changes as people are added and dropped. Now I am going to start a quiz, and I'm looking for my Let me go to all quizzes. I'm doing this one, intro quiz for FETC workshop. Now I chose to do this. I was going to do this as, which one? Let's see here. I'm doing this as a teacher paste. So I'm going to pick the option that says teacher paste. You'll see there's 3 different options here. We'll explore all of them today. And teachers will control the flow of questions. You send one question at a time, and I get to visualize the responses on my screen here as they happen. Now keep in mind I have my laptop connected, of course, so you can see this. But if you didn't want your audience to see the responses, simply turn off the projector or unplug it from here, and then only the teacher would be seeing the analysis of what is happening. But I want you guys, of course, to see what's happening, so I'll leave that all set and ready to go. Other options I have, I can disable student names. I want to get you all to put your names in. If I wanted to do this totally anonymous and didn't care, I would turn that little switch on. And then randomize answer order. That would just be so that if you're looking at your partner's screen, A, B, C, D, E choices are different. So it doesn't really matter in this environment, so I'll just leave it as the default. And I'll say start. And what should happen now is on your screens, you should be seeing a prompt to put in your name, I believe.
Your name, last name, and first name.
Okay, so go ahead and do that. And upon putting in your name, it'll then bring you right to question number 1. And we can see people are answering. This is helpful for the teacher because I can just kind of wander around the room and take a look up at the big screen and say, looks like almost all of you have it in. We've got 6 out of 10 people have answered right now. I pretty much wait till we get to everybody. Sometimes there's a student out there that's just, trying to think about what answer they're going to do. They're going to wait for me to reveal the right answer before they answer. So I don't always wait for that to reach like 10 out of 10, but when it gets close to it, of course, what I do here, this would not be for a grade in my class.
Slow. It's slow, okay.
Still going? Is it everybody or just? Yeah.
Well, we're not
Do the refresh button. Try hitting the up on Chrome. It looks like that. Try hitting the refresh button. Sometimes that's enough to just reload the page and catch you into it.
another.
Oh, you're in the app. Okay, yes, that's right. There is a Socrative app.
You have the option because it's on the search bar up top where it says beta-socrative.com.
Right, which is in the app, but the app doesn't have that. That's actually a good point. I don't like to use the app because of that feature. You don't have access to it. But in your case, what I would do is force close the app. Do you know how to do that? Yeah, double tap and swipe it out, and then relaunch it again. Did that work or no? To force close? Okay. Yeah, I know they make the apps for. Oh, you know what? The app might only be for version 1. I think the app is not ready yet or released yet for version 2. Yeah. At this point, I would recommend stick with the browser. Yeah. It seems like the app would be a better way to go because it's like one function only, but they don't have the app ready yet for version 2.
Do you want to run a second to catch up to re-log in with the?
Yeah. We'll just as the next question comes up, we can. It looks like 10 of you that have gotten in have responded. So if we're probably going to have more than 10 responses there as we go on. So just go ahead and join on a browser if it's not working on the current situation that you're using. So, and maybe if the 2 ladies can be around to help as well. So I am about to reveal what your experience is, and here we go. Dramatic silent drum roll. You click on how did we do? So in the bottom right corner there, when we click on that, and I may have to refresh as well because it looks like it's being a little bit funny. Now the funny thing is, anytime I present at a conference, it's always dependent on the Wi-Fi, but when I do this in my classroom, I never have a problem. So it's really dependent upon the quality of your Wi-Fi. Our school is pretty good. They have decent Wi-Fi for everybody. So if I click on how did we do, here now you can see your results. And it's kind of cool because you get to see, I did not make a correct answer for this one. This is a subjective question. If they did put down a right answer, one of these would be green, so you would see which one was the right answer. So because it's open-ended, we have, looks like the majority are first-time visitors here, and the rest of you are just under 5 times here. So no veterans over the 10-year mark, and that's usually the case. Socrative is such a new tool. I cannot. I'm glad she asked that question. You cannot break it down by individual users right now because I'm doing this in presentation mode. But at the end, I will be able to download a spreadsheet that has everybody's responses. So as we're going now, I don't get to see that. And that's kind of good because while I'm teaching, I don't really necessarily need to see the breakdown, but I let it email me that spreadsheet, and then on a planning period, I'll go in and look at that fine-grained, detailed information. Also keep in mind, I'm doing this from a pre-made quiz. That's why I'm able to get that breakdown. If I did this on the fly, I would not get that breakdown. So that's another advantage. We'll talk advantages and disadvantages, but that's why I like doing the pre-made quizzes, so then you have that option of seeing how everybody individually responded. So on to the next question that involves me pressing the one button up in the corner there, next. And in a matter of moments, you guys should see question 2 pushed out to you. And this one, I believe I made a multiple choice. And it looks about half of you have it in. Question? Type in, right there. Yeah, I typed that in when I built this quiz. I said, thank you for your response. That's where you would put deeper information. Like one of them you'll see is we'll do a periodic table quiz. Like someone will say, well, how to remember W is tungsten? I say, well, W is like watts, and watts in a light bulb, and a light bulb is tungsten. So you give those little like hints to remember things in those optional explanations. So just about all of you have responded. I'm going to go ahead and reveal how did we do. And here we go. Looks like basically 2 categories. Most people in the room are teachers or coaches, and then we have people in the other category. And in this case, you don't have the option of saying what that other is. I could have done a different question, though, as an open-ended question, where you would type in the words teacher or administrator or whatever it is. But this way it just categorizes it by percentages, so you have kind of pros and cons depending on which question choice you decide to go with. Next question coming up to you is number 3. This one I did because I wanted you to see how images could be used alongside, which is a new feature in the beta version 2.0. Version 1 did not have this. So what is this Orlando landmark? I don't know if I put any sarcastic choices in this one. I try to sometimes do that. Did I put the Eiffel Tower or something in the Empire State Building yet? So you're saying you don't want that feedback?
Well, I'm just asking.
That comes up a lot, and right now the answer is no. And I don't like that answer. I've told Ben that at Socrative, that I want it to be where everyone in the audience is not sure, so I can be the one to reveal it. He did have a suggestion. He said if you make it the student-paced option, where they go through it, they're not seeing the answers as they go. But I said, well, I don't want that because I want to do a venue like this where I'm releasing the questions and having a conversation around it, and then I'm ready to move on to the next one. So I'm hoping that that's going to be one of those sliders options that you have is reveal or don't reveal. I'm thinking from an engineering standpoint, it might not be hard to make that happen. So, because they have other options you can choose in a similar fashion. Mm-hmm. This Socrative does not have that, but Infused Learning does. The competing product. It has the ability, and I think Nearpod might be. Anyone familiar with Nearpod? Nearpod is another one of these, falls in this category of apps. That one, though, is a paid solution. There's like a free and a paid option with that. But some of those apps will do that because they'll do it for, you might have students that speak Spanish or French in the class, and they can press a button and hear it that way. So that would be a nice feature if they could add it in here somehow, but currently it's not there. So let's reveal how did we do. And we have, I did have Eiffel Tower in there. Good. I always like when someone puts the wrong answer in, so you can see it's not unanimous. So we have it. That's called Spaceship Earth at Epcot Center. Very good. On to the next question. And let's see what I put in for this one. Now, sometimes it does that. See, I did click next, and it didn't go. Now, I believe I can hit next again, and it won't go to like 4 or 5. Yeah, and it works. So if it doesn't work the first try, it's okay to hit it again, because you do have the ability to go previous if need be. So this is a educational technology category question. And I did this one as an open-ended response. Notice that you can type in, or those of you getting the responses back, you could type in the abbreviation of the state or the actual state full name itself. And capital or lowercase does not matter. So it's not case sensitive. And it looks like,
Spelling sensitive though, correct?
yes, it is spelling sensitive,
So if you don't know the spelling, there's another thing that.
which I'm okay with. I want my students to know that spelling does matter. Just because you're not in an English class, it still matters in a technology class or wherever you happen to be. So this is interesting here because we get to see some options here. I can hit show names, and now I can see the names of you guys that have responded. And if I hit the next one that says show answers, right next to it, it shows exactly how you guys have answered. So if you choose to reveal that information to the audience, you can do that. So we have the responses here, and the answer is Atlanta, Georgia, right? So it's Georgia. So you could put in either the full word Georgia or GA, right, is the abbreviation. But if you put in this, Atlanta, Georgia, that would mark it wrong. So keep that in mind, because you'd say, well, I didn't ask for the city and state, I asked for which state. So
The dots are the first somebody who did not respond, correct?
I just have to, I think I have to reveal it still. There we go.
Okay.
If you were late to the party, it just doesn't reveal it that way. So there's how the breakdown goes there. So it's an open-ended response like that can be self-grading if you choose to, but just be aware there's a slight catch. It's got to be spelled right, and you could put in multiple versions of it too. Like if I said, what is 2 plus 2? You could type in F-O-U-R or the number 4. You could set it up so that would be acceptable. So that is how we do that. So that's question 4. Let's go on to question 5. And this one again is this is a true-false. I wanted to show you a true-false example, and one where I was able to put in an image, and you may answer that one there. Let's see. Answers are coming in. And this is the fun one for the technology crowd. There's another picture I found at the bottom. It said, "You're welcome." I thought that was a little nice sarcastic way of doing that too there. So here's how we did. And we have some I don't knows in there too. So we have true, false, and I don't know, and it broke down like so. So I must have put this one in as a multiple choice and just did 3 choices, but there is an option for true, false, so there would just be the 2.
So for you, then, can you find out who answered what right away?
That's where we're going next. I think this is the last question, if I remember correctly. Oh, maybe not. There's another one built in here. So I'll get to that in a second because we'll show how the breakdown goes. So question 6 coming at you now. What's your experience level with using this tool, Socrative? I think you guys see how many questions there are, right? Does it say like 6 out of 6?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. On the teacher interface here, it does not say that. I think that would be a good addition. And by the way, anything you have ideas, feed them to me here, because I'm going to provide this recording to Ben at Socrative, and he can watch it, and he can hear exactly how it went. So they get that feedback that way by seeing how presentations go. So we'll just, since we're recording, we'll just throw all that information and feature requests in there. So we'll go ahead now and hit the, looks like I have a how do we do. In the majority in the room say that they've never used it before, and then a scattering of a few other people there. Where is our advanced power user, just so I know?
Oh, I'm right here.
Oh, that's you. Okay. All right. All right. So that's another thing. You can't always trust the data. You have to decide how people are answering there. Very good. All right. So now that I'm through with all my questions, up in the upper right-hand corner, we hit finish, and it brings us to some options. Email report. That's the one I'm going to choose. It already has, Socrative has my email address on file already. So I hit email report. And then it's going to send to me, we'll check my email in a few moments, a Google spreadsheet that we can look at. It's actually it could be an Excel spreadsheet that I can just open in Google. The other option I had was don't send me anything, cancel because I hit the wrong button, or download instantly now a file to your desktop. So I just prefer, because you're teaching, you're in the middle of stuff, just hit email it to me and they'll send it to you. And if we check, there it is, that fast at 4:02, we can look at the report. So
That spreadsheet, though, do you have to have a Google email?
no, because what they actually emailed me is a CSV file, or no, it actually is an Excel file. It's a Microsoft Excel document. So if I had Yahoo Mail, Hotmail, it wouldn't matter. It's just a document. But because I happen to be a Gmail user, I can choose to open it in Gmail itself. This is just the preview mode. But down here, go with open with, and say Google Sheets is what Google calls their spreadsheet product. And now I have the fine-grained, detailed analysis of how everybody did. Now I don't know if I had any right or wrong answers. They'll be green and pink to help color code that. But you can see here I have people's names on the left and percentages of how they did as a class and then as individuals. And then if I go over here, here's some of the good examples. I like doing this at a glance. In fact, if I can zoom out.
Jenny and David, good job, 100%.
Very good. It's because I'm presenting off of a laptop onto a projector, but normally these would be much smaller, and you could just scroll down at a glance and see which ones are green and pink, and see the results broken down that way. And of course, if you want to filter it by whoever did the highest percentage, just filter your column. Where's that column? Right here, and say show me from Z to A. So that way it just instantly arranged it from the high scores at the top to the bottom like that. So in a matter of a click, you can sort them, or sort by last name or first name if you wanted to as well. So that's where the results go, and they are stored for you right in your Google Drive account or in your email. I guess you have them both ways too. All right, so that is the process of going through a quiz. So we'll go back to my outline here and see what we have planned next. I want to show you guys a demonstration video from my classroom. So we did a video blog post about how we're using Socrative. And we made this using, this is from my other workshop yesterday, using Videolicious. I quickly threw this video blog post together, probably in under 10 minutes. I walked around the room, got some footage of kids' hands using the device, kids on a desktop, showing the screen in the room, and made together a nice little narrated video that I'd like to show you now. And we'll see how well it streams. Hi, it's Rob Z from robztraining.com, and on today's video blog, I want to feature Socrative. Socrative is a website. It's a tool that you can use, and it's free, for administering tests or practice tests, or even kind of asking kids questions in class. It's what they call a student response system. I love it because it works on any web-enabled device. So we're talking the expensive iPads down to the cheap Android tablets or even an iPod Touch smartphone. Anything that has a web browser is fair game. You can use it with Socrative. So it's cross-platform as best as it can be. It's very easy to use. Didn't have to tell the kids any lengthy instructions. Just basically go to this website or launch the free app if that's the case. And here's my room number. And that's it. I verbally said that. I didn't even have to show them that, and they were able to figure that out. They have a really cool feature also called the space race, where I can have kids working in groups, and they're kind of all trying to get the right answers to the questions, and there's a little spaceship that goes across the screen. Kind of looks gimmicky, maybe more elementary level, but I don't know, my 7th and 8th graders really enjoyed it today, so it might have some promise to it too. It's catching on. Other teachers in the school now are using it for practice exams, and maybe even like me, they're using it for the final exam in place of Scantron #2 pencil bubble sheets, which really with those things, you're waiting days to get feedback from a teacher. Whereas opposed with using this method, with Socrative, boom, you got it after each and every question. You know if you've got the answer right or wrong. So I really like it from a practice standpoint, but I'm going to experiment with it this year and use it as my final exam in place of a #2 Scantron sheet. So it's catching on, hoping other teachers start using it, and you should try using it too if you're interested. Socrative.com, free site, something to check out. And if you're interested in more videos like this about things I'm doing in the classroom and other educational technology stuff, subscribe to my blog, robztraining.com. Thanks for watching. No limit to the number of questions, no. The only thing that there's no limit that I know of. So you could have 50 questions, 100 questions, no limit. When we talk limits, we talk about the number of audience members that can participate live. It used to be 50. I think with the beta version they're trying out higher numbers, like 100, 150. But when I did this at ISTE, I asked Ben, I said, there might be a room of 200 people. So he upped the account, so that's something they can selectively do for people if you know you're going to be at a big venue. Like maybe an auditorium event where there's 500 kids in the audience or parents and you want them all to participate. What a great way, I'm thinking like at a high school, to vote on prom king or queen or something like that you need to do. Tied to this, we just had a couple weeks ago our annual geography bee. and we had 600 kids in the audience and only 10 kids on stage. But every once in a while, we'd let them pull out their mobile devices and vote on what they think the right answer is to a question. So it was a great way to pull in audience participation, and they were waiting for that moment where they could pull their device out, respond, and that we did it like 4 or 5 times throughout that auditorium event. So think of classroom only, think of professional development, think of large-scale events. This tool could fit many different ways. Yes. In version 1.0, they have the ability to import a spreadsheet. They give you the spreadsheet to download first, a blank template spreadsheet. You can put it in Excel format, put all your questions in, and then you import that spreadsheet. That's right. But I don't think they have that in the beta version 2.0. It didn't always seem to work well for me. Like I had to be only on like a certain browser, like Chrome wasn't working, and I could only do it using Firefox, so it was kind of not really working too well. But when you see, we're going to build some quizzes today. The questions are pretty straightforward, whether you're using a desktop or even a small mobile device too, to actually create from scratch. So you don't need necessarily the desktop to do it. Yes?
How do you manage cheating? Like if you're doing a quiz like this,
Mm-hmm.
how do you manage they don't go off to another browser and look for the answers?
That's a philosophy question. I don't like to give quizzes where you can't simulate real life. I like to tell the kids, if you're at your job and you need to find out what is the capital of Iowa, I don't know what it is, you would do what I would do, you'd look it up. So I want my class to be like that too. So I never use Socrative when it's an opportunity where I'm testing only what's in their brain. If it's something that is, and for me it's mostly test prep or vocabulary terms when we first start a unit, I'll use Socrative, and I'm okay if they go off and look for answers. But really, they'd have to be quick, because I move pretty quick to get the information. I don't spend as much time as I did here to go question to question to question. I might want to get through 20 questions in 10 minutes. So to go off and search, they really would have to be quick about multitasking to do that. So I feel like what I'm asking them is coming from their brain without researching it. But sure, if a kid knows how to quickly switch between apps, they could go do a Google search, try to find an answer, come back, put it in. But they'd have to be really quick.
Like a final exam. I mean, for some kids, they need more time for assessments.
Mm-hmm.
How would you manage that final exam? Would you expect everybody to be quick?
Well, if it was an iOS device, I would use the guided access feature. Do you know about that? You can lock it down, iPad, iPhone, iPod, so that you can only stay on one app and you can't go anywhere else with it. I can show that from my iPad. I just have to set up my Reflector app. Let's make sure we cover that before we leave it at 5:30 today. I'll show you how to do that. Anybody know how to do that? I should show you that, because that's a great thing. And this applies only to Apple devices, unfortunately, but you can lock it down so they can't leave that app. And I do that in my room. I use my iPad, I use Roll Call, an attendance taking app. And I'm not always at that iPad, so I want to make sure they don't go to some other app and start looking at my Evernote account or my email or something. So I enable that every single day. So if you hit the home button, hit the lock button, you can't get out of it. It'll pull up, enter your 4-digit PIN number to get out of that feature. And Apple rolled that in with iOS 6, so like about 1.5 years ago. And not a lot of people know about it, but it's a nice tool because you can then lock it down to one app. You can even lock down portions of the screen that are not allowed to be touched. So if the top navigation, you don't want them typing in URLs, you can make that a, shall we say, non-touchable area. You touch up there, nothing happens. It's like the screen is dead in that area. So it's under, I'll say it verbally now so I can show you. You know what, I'm on the same network. This might work. Let me try this here. We're going to minimize. I'm going to use an app called Air Server. Anybody familiar with that? Air Server, the competing product is called Reflector. So both of those are similar products. You run it on your Mac or your PC. And as long as both devices, this one and this one, are on the same Wi-Fi network, you can then AirPlay your device to this screen. So I'm about to put my iPhone on this screen right here. Reflector is just another product. I don't like it as much. I feel like it's more buggy. There was a time where I was only using that though. But I like to mention both just so you can try both of them. They both have free trials too. You can download them before you pay $5 or $10 for them. You can try them out. So I'll launch it now. And then, let's see if this works. AirPlay to there and turn mirroring on. And here it comes. All right, so you're looking at my iPhone screen. So the place where you go for this is in Settings. And then it's been a while here. Let's see. It's under the like assistive stuff for the speech to text and things like that. Let me try general. I think that's right, general. And then accessibility, I think. Am I looking at it? Where is it here? Guided access, there it is. So it is under accessibility. And see right in the middle there, guided access, mine says on. So by default it's off, of course. So go to it, turn it on at the top, and then you set your passcode. It'll be a 4-digit number. And then I like to turn the accessibility shortcut on. So that gives you the triple click option. That's how I turn it on and off each time. So now that I've done that, I'll just exit out here. I'm going to go ahead and open an app. What shall I open? Let's go to the weather app. So we open up an app, and all right, it's going to load up. Let's just go to a screen so you can see the 10-day forecast here. To lock us down, I'm going to triple click 3 times. And now it has some options up here, and I'll point out what we have. Before I start it, I have some options. Oh, you can't see it because of that. Can I move that? Make that go away.
Go to Buffalo, that's our forecast for the next 10 days.
Wait, no, this is Orlando. I have it in Orlando, yeah. I switched it.
It was 6:13 too.
I switched it. All right, so your options in the bottom here, we're going to hit options, and it reveals to us, do you want people to use a sleep or wake button? If you want to lock that down and say they can't use them, then you can turn that on. I like to have it off, though, because I do want to be able to use that. The volume buttons, are they allowed to use it? Yes or no? Right now it's so that yes, they can. The touch, am I going to allow them to touch the screen and do stuff? I'll say yes. And then the motion, am I going to allow shaking? So the gyroscope features, because some apps have motion sensitivity. If I allow or not allow that, I can do that. So I'll hit done. And now I will hit, my options are set up the way I want, so I'm going to hit start. And I have to choose a passcode. Now you're choosing the passcode right on the spot right now, so you might not want to type this in front of kids. I'll just put 1, 2, 3, 4 and type it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oop, I hit the button the wrong way. Okay, so now it's started. So I'm going to hit the home button, and notice it says at the top, it's hard to see there, it popped up that nope, you can't do it. You got to enter, and it says triple click the home button to exit. So even if I lock my device, which I hope is, no, yeah, I can't lock it either because I disabled that. So now this device is locked down. So I could lock it down to the browser where Socrative is running. But see, here's the nuts and bolts part of it. Do you want your students to enable that and then have them prove to you that they locked it down? Or do you want to walk around on each device and you triple click and set that? That's going to take time to do. So maybe if you're using just a couple devices and it's a center-based activity, not a big deal. But for me, 25 kids, 30 kids, that would be a lot to do. I probably would have them do it. No, I can't, because then they would know what the PIN number is.
But what I do is,
That's right.
I just turn the desks around when I'm using computers.
Yeah.
I turn the desks around.
Okay.
The screens are facing me, and that's
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
probably what I would do.
Yeah. A good teacher always thinks of all those different options you could do
Instead
to.
of questions that would require, thought.
Right. And I try to ask the open-ended questions so they really can't just guess, randomly. So, of course, those don't always grade themselves unless you make it like my state example. So there's more work on the teacher to do that part. But all the trade-offs that we have. So now I want to get out of this option. I will triple click, and I'll put in my PIN number. And now it will, you do have to hit end up at the corner. Sometimes people just hit the home button and think they did it. But no, you have to remember to physically hit the end up in the corner. And this works the same way if you're on the full-size iPad as well. It looks very similar. So now I'm back to normal, and I can function just like I normally would. And so that is the accessibility feature. Little known feature, I think it's a good one to know about in situations like that where you want to lock somebody down to just using one app. All right, so we will just minimize that now in case we're going to use it again. And back to where we left off. Okay, so we did the intro quiz, we did that. Some more additional links. I'm not going to show you this now, but if you're interested, I do have 2 workshops besides what you're going to be able to watch today from what we're doing. At Canisius College, I presented this last 2 summers ago, and then at ISTE last year, that was recorded. So those are the links if you want to check those out on YouTube, if you're intrigued, because I do change my workshops up a little bit. You can see a little variety if you're so inclined. Overview of features. Let's see how they break it down. Now here they're going to break it down with version 1.0, I believe, but it's still very similar. I would suggest looking at these categories if you're interested in specific things. They do have a gaming feature that we're going to use called the Space Race. It kind of gamifies it, where you have everybody's going to be a different colored spaceship, and on the screen you're going to have the multicolors spaceships there, and as you get one right, it makes yours go forward. So it's the collaboration piece where maybe 3 of you in the room randomly are chosen to be on a team. So that'll make more sense in a little bit when I show you that feature. But you can take a look at the categories here if you're interested and learn a little bit more about the features. Now, I'm going to cover most of them, so that's you can follow along with me as well. I just wanted to point those out if you needed to. So to create a brand new free teacher account, the sign-up procedure is by visiting the plain old Socrative.com site. I don't think you have to put the W's in either. It'll work right for it. And you'll see the teacher sign-up is the blue button there. What they're going to ask for is putting in your email address and a password. And I believe that's it. They might ask for a grade level or a content area after this step, but you can really sign up if you want to do it now even in under 30 seconds. So it's no need to verify you're a teacher at a specific school from what I understand. It's just something that they allow you to sign up for it. Yes?
How do you decide on one of these things that you're using, whether you use your school email or whether you use your personal?
I don't think it matters. I usually recommend using your school email in case they want to verify you're a teacher at a school.
You were showing me about the Google Docs, though, and so I guess my question is, do you need those things to be dropped into that Gmail account versus your school account? I'm just wondering what makes you make
Yeah,
the
because of
decision.
that? No, it really doesn't matter. Any your preferred email address you could use. Keep in mind too, some districts like mine, they block Yahoo access to email and Hotmail and things, but they allow Gmail. So if you happen to have a different account, just keep that in mind. You might not be able to use it at school. So that might be another reason why it's a suggestion to use your school-issued email address for that. And then remember, no accounts needed for students. That's, of course, one of the big things because not all schools give email accounts to students or let them use email, which, as backwards as that sounds in 2014, that's the reality of it, unfortunately. So the login options you have. Wanted to point out the difference here. If you're using the plain old Socrative.com 1.0 version, which I don't recommend because I really like the new one, you would log in there, add in the word beta.socrative.com as of now, and you have that working. Now, I wasn't able to get an answer from Ben about when beta is going to become the full public release version, but I'm thinking it may happen sometime within this year because it's been out for quite a while, and they've had time to work out the bugs on it, so probably pretty soon you're going to see the apps in iOS and Android be updated, and you won't even have to type in beta anymore to get to that version. So I would think in the coming months we're going to see that happen. So I'm breaking it down now into 2 different presentation modes, either on the fly, no prep needed in advance, or quiz mode, which I did earlier with you guys, which was I pre-made a quiz for you to take. So there are advantages and disadvantages to both. The disadvantages to on the fly, though, is you're just asking one question at a time. You're not doing like a sequence of events, which I kind of like. And there's no automatic grading or analyzing how people did. At least I believe that's the case. It may have changed a little bit now with the beta version, but that's, from what I recall, is the advantage and disadvantages to that mode. So I'm going to give you 3 different style examples here. First, we're going to do a multiple choice example. And this is tied into ISTE last year, which was in San Antonio, Texas. So pretend now on my chalkboard behind me, my virtual chalkboard, that you saw this on the wall. Or this could be, of course, my whiteboard. Or just verbally, I said a choice to you, like, what are the colors of the American flag? Red, white, blue, orange. And you say, oh, the 4th one, he said orange, and you choose that. So what I'm going to do, I'll show you from the teacher side, is push out to you right here a quick question. Looks like 8 of you are still in the room. And you can see I have 3 different options here. First one we'll go ahead and do is multiple choice. So one click of my button there, and you see just a blank choices out there on your screens that should say A, B, C, D, E. And yes, you don't have yes, you will see all 5. You can't say, well, I only want 3 choices. You can't do that. They give you 5, so just be prepared for that. So you're seeing that, and imagine that on my chalkboard, you're seeing this right now. So I wrote it up on the board, or I have it on my whiteboard, or I just verbally said it. Go ahead and vote on what you think the correct answer is. And of course, you won't get confirmation here about what the right answer is either. So unlike before, where it instantly told you if you got it right or wrong, you're not going to get that advantage here. So I'm going to switch back over now to my teacher side. It looks like half of you have answered. I'll switch back so you can see it again. Yesterday morning my voice was fine, but after 6 hours of presenting, I kind of lost it. Question?
Change your room name.
In version 1.0, yes, but they did it? Oh, good. Okay, so they put that in then. In the settings area, which I probably can show you here. Oh no, I can't show you. It would be in the upper right-hand corner when you're logged in as a teacher. They have menu or settings, something like that. It's going to say. Is that where you found it, Sarah?
It says,
What it would say? Change room number or?
under, you can go to my profile.
Oh, it's under
It says
profile.
change room number.
Okay, so if you can find the profile area
Yeah.
in that third row back. Yes.
When I answered it, let me pick every option and submit.
Yes, good point. Not every question will have one right answer. We are all conditioned to that. In fact, I do that as a trick question to my students. I'll have it where they have to answer both A and B to get an answer correct. So realize, like he said, you could pick multiple choices here. Maybe there's 2 right answers, maybe there's 3, maybe there's 4, maybe all 5 are right. So keep that in mind. They've made it so that you have that option, and you could choose to reveal that.
One right answer, what happens?
Well, in this case, I'm about to reveal to you what the right answer is. And this is probably not the best example because we would know by it could have only happened in 1 year. But maybe this question said, what year did battles in Texas happen? And maybe A, B, and E are all correct or something. So, but in this case, the answer is, I have to remember. It's either B or C. Anybody know the right answer? You could Google it to find out. That's how I did it. But I know the answer is, because I did 36 and 63. I know it's either B or C. One of them is the correct answer. So I would tell you, for example, anybody get it right? Yeah, okay.
For my other device.
So in this case, the teacher would have to know the right answer, of course. And it's been a while since I did this presentation. But I think C is correct. It is 1863. So I would say, looks like half of you in the class, well, I wouldn't say it that way. It looks like we got a split. Some of you thought this one and that one, and the answer is C. So it's just one of those verbal, on-the-fly type questions. And if I was ready to launch another question, I just hit multiple choice, and then out comes another opportunity to answer another multiple choice question. Yes?
On this question, though, I answered every one. I picked every one. What does it do as far as?
Yeah, you're right. So you were included in the right answer as well as the wrong answers.
So the key to this is always answer every option and read it right.
If you're doing it on the fly. But I don't know. I have no way of knowing that you did that. So,
This isn't supposed to be for like a grade.
right, this would not be for, this would be the formative assessment piece, not for a grade. But because I would not, if you were doing this for a grade, you're thinking, yeah, you could gamify the system and just answer them all right. But this would be more for me to see what's the majority of the class think. So you gotta take that into consideration. You're right. And because if everybody just answered all of them, then of course our data wouldn't make sense. It would be equal up there. So yeah, that's a consideration. Yeah, good point. Yes, in the back row.
When we're talking about consensus building with questions, you wouldn't necessarily have Socrative be able to do the spreadsheet and record of that activity, because that's a shorter activity.
That's right. The mode I'm doing it in now, on the fly, there is no spreadsheet that's going to be generated. So I won't have that individualized data. So it truly, in that case, is anonymous. I just know what the majority are saying, but not the breakdown of who's saying what, which is the disadvantage to this option. But you'll see the advantage of it when we do our pre-made ones. So my next one I'm going to go to is, I had an example here, is a true-false example. And this one I'm just going to say verbally. So ready? Here we go. I'm going to hit quick question, true, false. And on your screen, you shall see an option of true, false. So verbally, I will say this. The capital of New York State is Binghamton. So you answer the way you'd like. And of course, you could pull up Siri. What is the capital of New York State? You could do that, but that involves time, and you'd hear someone doing that. But of course, they could type it in as well. So it looks like the majority, the unanimous, everybody here out of our 6 people so far are saying false. Now, I can't really tell you the right answer, because if I did, the few of you that didn't answer yet quickly put the right answer. and get it right. So, but again, it's not for a grade, so it doesn't matter as much. But we have a couple people that haven't answered yet. I'll give you a few more moments to do so. And who knows what the, I almost said it. Who knows what the state capital is of New York State? Albany, very good. So that would be the right answer. So it looks like I'm not going to let the few people stragglers there. I'll just finish, and it'll boot you out and get you ready for the next question. So the teacher is ultimately in control there. They can boot people out. In fact, speaking of booting out, if I wanted to boot all of you out of the room right now, I could go up to here and hit clear room, and that would log all of you out, and you'd see the login screen again. Now, sometimes you want to do that because period 3 just ended, and period 4 is going to come in next, and they're going to use the same devices that we're reusing period after period. So there are times where you want to actually use that feature and clear the room. So how do I get back? Okay. So my next example for you here is a short answer with voting option. Now I like this one because we're going to kind of do two things at once here. And I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to, let's see, go back to here. Quick question, short answer. Now, the question, it's optional for me to type it in here. And if I do, you'll see it as the question comes out. I'm going to allow everybody to vote an unlimited number of times. So if you want to do like 5 or 6 times or 2 or 3 times, you can. The question is going to be, what is your favorite app? Now I have to specify this. Give one app per response. Don't say, I like Google, Edmodo, Facebook, and Twitter, because that's 4 things. I want you to keep them separate. If you wanted to do that, Google, submit it. Twitter, submit it, and do them separately because of what we're going to do with this information. I'm thinking of this as group brainstorming is a great way to do it. So my question to the audience is, what is your favorite app? Vote as many times as you want, and I don't care to identify who you are, so I'll say anonymous, and I'll hit start, and out comes the question to you. And so put in just one choice, and if you have more than one, keep on voting and put them all in. And as you can see, as the results are coming in, they're putting them up like so. Now, inevitably, there will be someone that looks like 2 of you put in notability. So you can't avoid that, and you'll know what I mean by that when I show you what we're going to do with this information. So these are all favorite apps that people are going with, and as you can see, I have to scroll down to keep showing all the results as they come in. I think the new results always go at the top, so new stuff always shows up at the top. So you get to the point where you decide how many do you want. I'll go till we have maybe about 20 responses in there, so we have a nice variety of stuff. I've also done this with like, what's your favorite pizza topping? And you know, what question should be on Friday's quiz from what we did all this week? You know, you could brainstorm any kind of list. What would be a headline for today's topic that we did? If you had to, or what would be a good tweet if you had to boil it down to just a few words? So we did some group brainstorming. I'm going to cut you guys off here by saying, let's see. I'm going to hit the button that says Start Vote. And now it's going to convert that. I'll say, go ahead, email me the report so I can see the results. It should convert it any second now. There it goes. You now have the option of voting on what you think is the favorite. So we're going to rank these. So we brainstormed, and now we're ranking. Now keep in mind, more than one person put in, I saw it down here, notability. So you might, some of you might vote for this one, and some might vote for that one. So we would have to add the 2 together to get an accurate count. But for the most part, we have a good variety in here. Go ahead and choose your favorite. And I think you only get to do that once, right? You only get one option. Can you vote more than once, or does it only let you? Okay, so maybe it's set up to do that. I wasn't sure if it let you do more than one vote or not. So as the responses are coming in, we're going to see our bars change.
Are you asking us to try to figure out what we think the room's going to have?
No, pick up from what you see in the list. Now you pick, I should have said this. Don't vote for your own.
That's what I thought.
Yes, that's right, because otherwise the results would be skewed. So other than yours, vote for your favorite app now. Other than yours, vote for your favorite. And it's kind of neat because we have dynamically changing results here. Right now in the lead is Shobi and Google Earth tied at 20%. But I do have to scroll up and down. Let's see how our bottom of the list is doing. So Google Earth is in the lead. So that's a feature request that hopefully is coming. In version 1, they let you change it, but in version 2, I believe it's just numbers, random numbers they give you. Maybe you were in version 1 and you saw it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and another thing too, don't go between version 1 and version 2 because things are not compatible back and forth. So, don't start with one and say, oh, I'll try the other now. You got to kind of stick with one then. So I think everyone has, let's see, 11 out of 14. So 3 more people, if they're out there still, could vote. But you could see we could scroll through the results, and we see the popular ones are, it looks like Google Earth is the winner, followed by Pinterest and Shobi. Was Shobi meant to be Show Me? Or Show B? Shobi? Okay, I haven't heard of that one. I've heard of Show Me. So we have ability now to vote and then rank, or brainstorm and then rank, which I kind of like. It's kind of like doing 2 things with this type of question. So I'll finish that one off.
But it doesn't order it for you.
It doesn't rearrange them, no. You have to manually go through it. So if you have a real long list, that can be tedious to have to scroll up and down. But you could change the zoom level of your browser if you want to see them all in one shot. So back to our outline here. And in a few moments here, we probably should take a... Yeah, you know what? We're at the halfway point, and I'm at a good transition point. So let's take a little 10-minute break, use the restroom, get a beverage, whatnot. And when we come back, we'll show you the pre-prepared quiz mode, which gives you a little bit more advantages of tracking things. All right, so we'll come back. All right, as we're coming back, guys, let me just give you a little case study example here of what I was doing for quite a while. I would leave Socrative running 24/7. So that my students at any time could take a practice quiz that was similar to my final exam. I made different questions, just worded them differently, and I just launched it and I would let it run, and it worked. I could leave it for like a week at a time. As students put in their names though, I told them, put in Johnny Smith 1. And next time you take it, Johnny Smith 2, Johnny Smith 3. So just increment the number each time you take it so I can see as they're practicing how they're doing. And I did tell them too, I had a Skittles machine in my room and I said if you get a perfect score on it and I see that, I'll give you a tech token, a quarter to get free Skittles out of the candy machine. So I no longer have that candy machine, but that was another little carrot to dangle there to try to do your best on the practice to try to get a perfect score. So that was great because you were able to do it outside of school and in class, and at all times I was able to see how they were doing on that. So feel free to treat this as a long-term thing, not just a 20-minute activity or something like that. So we are back here now looking at the next part of our outline. We're going to do quiz mode. This is where the advantages are that we have multiple questions in a row, so a sequence of things can happen. These will automatically grade themselves right on the spot, and the results will be recorded into that spreadsheet so we can analyze them. Disadvantage, though, is just a time issue. You have to prepare it in advance. So at home, on a planning period, whatnot, however a teacher would decide to do that. So first we'll go with a teacher-paced example where I'm going to control the flow of information with our digital citizenship quiz. So let me launch that. Go to my start a quiz. In my digital citizenship for this conference, start. And I said I wanted to make it teacher-paced so that we can have a conversation around each question as they come out one at a time. I'll ask for your names in that, and I'll go ahead and randomize the answer order. So if you want, peek on your neighbor's device and see if your A, B, C, D, E choices are different from theirs, because they should be, because I chose that option there. So I'll hit start, and we now see the first question you may answer. Actually, it's going to ask for your name, because it always asks for your name at the beginning. So put your name information in, and then you'll see the first question. All right, looks like we have about 14 students in the room, or 14 devices, we should say. All right, we're halfway there.
So Rob, can you see right now the answer?
No, I'm seeing here what you guys are seeing there. I haven't revealed it yet.
I will say that the answers are random because I'm doing it on 2 devices.
Oh, good.
And the order is different
Okay.
on this device than that.
And that could be helpful, so the kids aren't saying, it's C, it's D, in case or they're seeing each other's screens. Or if you're in a computer lab, where literally they can just look on the next screen over, maybe that's a helpful thing. But again, I do have to admit, I don't do this type of thing when it does count for a grade. And if I was to, I would come up with those things we talked about before, like locking down the app, or putting kids so they in physical positions in the room where they can't see each other's screens, things like that. But for me, this is just formative assessment on the fly, mostly done for fun, just for me to get information as we do things. So it looks like most of you have answered. I'll go ahead and reveal. And this one does have a correct answer, and I marked it, so that's why it's green. So it looks like it's unanimous. Very good. Everybody knows out of these things here, you should never share your address. And remember, you could have chosen multiple ones in here. So if someone said, well, I think it's both your name and your address, they could have chosen both. But it would mark it as an incorrect answer. In order to get it right, you have to choose exactly what I checked when I made this question. So you kind of, if you like the example you said before, if you just choose them all, you would have gotten it wrong. Because if you do choose a wrong answer, by default, it's all wrong. It's either a black or white issue. So there's our question number 1. Coming at you is question number 2. And I think this audience is probably going to do pretty good on this quiz in particular. I think there's a sarcastic answer in there somewhere too, isn't there? Sometimes I'll use 2 devices so that I have my own device and I'm answering as a student as well, just to see what you guys are all seeing. But I'm trusting that it's working okay and you guys are getting it. So I'll go ahead and reveal our answers. And we do have someone that chose D. And I probably can guess by the laughter in the room who that might be, but there we go. 90% of you guys got that one right. And there's our results for question number 2. Next question. What is phishing? Another case study or workflow example, if you're a teacher that maybe teaches with PowerPoint or Prezi or Google presentations or slides or whatever the case may be, you could just have that simply open and be switching tabs and going back and forth between it. When it's time to ask a question, you switch to that tab, ask your question, and go back to your presentation. So I've heard of teachers doing that kind of workflow. All right, so let's reveal. And we have, there we go. We have majority chose it correctly. And we have some 1 or 2. I can't really tell you right now how many that is because it just gives us a percent that chose that one. So that helps the teacher to know if we saw all of a sudden a lot of people were saying that it's when you use a pole string and a bait to catch fish, we would know that we have to talk about what phishing means in a digital term, in digital citizenship terms. All right, off to our next question. And you guys are seeing confirmations here, right, after you answer? Okay, and you're probably seeing my little explanations in there too, I think, right? I built those in, so that gives you right on the spot verification. So number 4, what should you do before opening a strange email message? Now, since each of you are getting a verification of if it's right or wrong, keep that in mind too. If the students are sitting close to one another, they could wait to answer until they see that person answer, oh, now I know what it is, and now they answer it. So keep that in mind too. If it is the kind of scenario where you want to test their own knowledge without any chance of cheating.
In this version, is there an ability for you not to reveal that answer right away, but to give the kids a second shot at it?
No.
It's like a time, 1 time.
And that's a feature we've asked for, because that would be nice if now I could hit another button that says reveal to the students the answer. I hit it, and now you guys see the answer. I think that would be a good, and I'll look in the camera as I say that in case Ben is watching this, but that is a good feature request that's been brought up numerous times. So it would add more to the complexity of it all, but I think some teachers would like that.
Who are special education kids, gives them an opportunity to do a first and second shot at things.
That's right.
Kids need additional time and things like that.
Yep. So you'd have that option to choose to reveal by going to the next segments. It's almost like click twice within each question to get your progress going through it. So if we reveal it here, it looks like, oh, we had some mixed results here on this one. The right answer is the first one, simply delete it. But some people said forward it to your IT staff, and this is where we'd have a conversation. Why should you forward it to your IT staff? And some might say, well, because they have the ability to judge whether it's right or wrong. Well, we've got 10,000 users on our account. If everyone's doing that, and we have one guy managing that, or one girl, or one person, that might be cumbersome for them to do. So someone did choose the liquid whiteout thing. That's our sarcastic one we built into there. And I like putting in the none of these because you might think, well, these don't maybe seem right. Maybe it is none of these. And then someone picks that. So that's kind of the out if they're really not sure which one it is. Sometimes I'll put it says unsure because I might be giving this test to someone or quizzing them on this before we jumped into the unit of instruction. I like doing that in the beginning to see what they're coming in with. And I'll give you an example of that. I do that when it comes to using mobile devices responsibly around the building. My 7th and 8th graders do a project called Life at Amherst Middle, where they become photojournalists. And their task is to be a multimedia journalist, take photos and videos all around the school using your mobile device. Now, if they have no instruction from me and I say, yeah, just go ahead and do it, you're going to get kids walking into the bathroom taking pictures, or someone doing a handstand and falling down the stairs to get a picture of that. I try to cover all of that by giving them an initial type of quiz like this and seeing how they're answering. And then that gives us a chance to have those conversations as they come up with questions like this, where it looks like it's all over the board with not a clear answer there. Yes?
Maybe if they had a hint feature, so if you were structuring questions in a language, you wanted the kids to be able to answer two questions that are close together, but there's one that's more right.
Okay.
So they have like a hint feature built in that the kids can use so they can get practice.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I found is real difficult. There's two answers. One's a shade of meaning better than the other one.
Okay. So it would be an option that the user could say, I'm really not sure, I'd like a hint, and they could hit a button and get that. Yeah, that would be like seeing the explanation before, like just before instead of after.
And the thought process.
Well,
Yeah.
we sort of know that from our administrative test. There's a 3-hour test for each section. And you get 2 answers there, nearly identical.
Right.
Well, one's a little off.
Right.
So that would be a good idea. For
Yeah.
them because
A good app option in there. We'll mention that to Ben here in the video too. Yeah. So to clarify it, it's give the child the ability to hit a button if they choose to reveal a hint.
And you see that they use that hint.
Right, yeah, and that's right. So yeah, you can maybe have that as part of the analysis, that so-and-so usually needs the hints. And you could tell other kids, if you feel pretty confident, don't hit that hint button, just guess it. And that's, because you're confident with your answer. Another tool I saw that used Google Forms to do something like this had that. Not only did you choose the right answer, but you also chose like a temperature. Like, I'm really positive that it's right. Or I'm unsure, or I have no idea. So therefore you could see, I got it right, but I guessed, versus I have no idea, and I didn't get it right. You had that, it gets more complex, of course, but I don't even remember the name of that. It was a customized Google form that somebody made. I'd have to really think hard. It's a couple years ago. I showed that to the teachers, but then when this came out, everyone was like, oh, we're not doing that anymore, because this was 10 times better. So as technology, of course, evolves. So we shall go now to our next question. Or is that it? That's it. Oh, okay. So that's why I don't have a next button there. So I'll hit finish. And here I will say, sure, go ahead and email me the report. And it will tell me that, there it is, a report has been sent to your email. And if I go check that email, probably, there it is right there. Show it. It just came through. That's pretty quick. It used to take like 30 seconds or 60 seconds, so now it's pretty quick. So we click on that. This is, of course, just a preview. So I want to open it fully in Google Sheets or in Microsoft Excel if I had it installed, which I don't because I am not a Google Office user anymore. Proudly to say, I've switched over to using only Google products and life has been much better. So, oh, this is the wrong one. That's from before. Okay, well, that was a bad example. I have to look at it. Yeah, that's right. I got to scroll down and look at it. Go back and open up the most recent one. This one. There we go. So just briefly, we'll take a look at this. We should have our color-coded pinks and greens. So at an overall high-level view, you can scroll through it and see by person or by question how people did. And you can sort, of course, the columns if you need to. All right, back to our outline here. I see a hand up question.
You mentioned earlier that you can use this for like open-ended questions and answers, or open-ended answers. So how would you
should I wait for analyzing results to ask this question? How would you rate that or assess that? Like the multiple choices.
Oh, right, because it grades itself.
6%.
Right.
How does that work?
Well, Socrative does not grade those. It leaves those as unmarked answers. So you manually have to go in and score them. So if you had a 10-question quiz, which I typically do, and maybe the last 2 are open-ended, you could see 8 out of 10 what they could get, and then I would just assign 10 points and 10 points, and I would decide how many points they would receive. So it's tedious, it's labor-intensive, the teacher has to do that, but in some cases you want to do that because maybe you need them to have that space to write sentences out or something. Yeah. Right, so we did, let's see, where am I at here? Digital citizenship. Now we're going to do a math quiz. Any math teachers in the room? Okay, good, because I think I may have a grammar mistake in here too that I usually gets pointed out. I haven't changed it. This time though, we're going to do a student-paced example. You're going to be in the driver's seat, going through it at your own pace, and I'm going to see on my dashboard where you're at. So it's kind of nice to see, once you start the quiz, where everybody currently stands. So that's our math quiz. Let's go here, start a quiz, our math quiz, and I have 2 options when it's student-paced. This one is going to give me, it'll give you guys immediate feedback, so you will know if you got it right or wrong after each question. The other one, though, you have the ability to navigate forwards and backwards, which you don't have in the other options. So I'm going to do this one because in case you get to one and say, oh, you know what, I should have done it this way. You can go backwards, backwards, forwards, forwards. So navigate back and forth. And you will not, you will not get, I believe, you will not get feedback on if you're getting them right or wrong. So you'll rely on me to tell you that. Or you can look up on the screen because I'll have the teacher viewable for you. So I want names. I'll go ahead and randomize the question order. Oh, they did add this. It used to be only one of these options. Now the questions are scrambled and the answer choices are scrambled. So that really goes for complete randomization of choices and questions.
But student names, if you disable student names,
Uh-huh.
can you still get it on the Excel form?
Good question. I think you would. It just wouldn't have that column filled in. It would not put their names in then. It probably would just say like user 1, user 2, user 3. We could test that theory out, but I believe that it'll still work. It'll give you data, but I guess it's data that you wouldn't really need to see necessarily. Yeah. So let's go for it. We'll do that. Start. And here's what I'm seeing on my screen. So you guys can go ahead and proceed. Go through the 4 questions. And if you're curious to see how you're doing, I'm revealing to you the teacher-only view up here, so we can see the nice progress in this grid fashion. Oh, and I'm wondering why I'm only seeing 3 and 4, but it's because it's randomized, so some of you haven't gotten to question 1 yet. That truly is randomized altogether. That's pretty cool how that's lighting up too. It's completely random.
Okay, multiple ones in there.
But because you put multiple and I only marked 1 being right, you got it wrong.
Yeah.
It might be B, D, or E. It might be. But because you put other choices, that's why it negated it. And so once this is fully lit up, I know that everybody's complete. So it's kind of neat to see that. And somebody called their first and last name, I hate math. So be prepared for that too. Now we have a lot to analyze on this live screen right here. I'll start at the top. First of all, we have some color coding going on. When they're orange, they are multiple choice. When they are red or pink, whatever that is, those are short answer, I believe, right? Is that a short answer I had in there? I think so. Or was it a true false? No, it was a short answer. Okay. So they color code them. True falses, I think, are purple. So you, the teacher, can tell what kind of question it is. Of course, you get the breakdown by the student across the row by seeing the greens and seeing their percent. But maybe I want to know about the question. It looks like maybe question 1 was a tricky question because overall, 50% of you, only half of you got question 1 right. So maybe I need to figure out, did I word that question not too well? Or is it a topic I didn't teach? Or we just made it a really hard question, whatever it is. So that would help. Looks like the majority of you, 92% of you, got the third question right. So maybe that's too easy. Maybe I taught that really well. You do that analysis there to see the details on that. So, say it again.
Yeah, you just say finish quiz in the upper right-hand corner.
Oh, yes, I
So
think
you pick your last one, then
if that was your last fourth question, yes, it'll have a finish confirmation there.
If you wouldn't be showing them that.
Right, I would not be showing the class this. I would.
Go back and change my answer.
Oh yeah, you can't, right? Oh yeah. You're saying before you end it, yeah, you could go back and change it. You're right.
Right.
So I would not have the projector on.
So if I could see that I got my answer already
Right,
wrong,
right.
then I can go back and
okay,
fix it.
you wouldn't have that error for everyone.
Right, so I just simply turn the projector off, and now only I'm going to see it on my screen here. And keep in mind, I don't have to be tethered to a laptop. I could be doing this off of my iPad, or even, it's be small, but even on my iPhone, I could be walking around with this and, watching people's screens, making the students feel like I'm over their shoulder watching. You have that ability. You don't have to be tethered to the front of the room. So I like that view. I think there's a lot of data you can see from that live as it comes through, and that's kind of a neat way to do that kind of quiz. So now we're going back to my outline here. And we're going to do the exit ticket. How many people have ever done either a high-tech or a low-tech, even on paper, an exit ticket out the door? All right, so this takes the exit ticket concept to a digital realm so that we can hit one button and launch an exit ticket. It's not really that impressive, to be honest, because what it is, I closed it, didn't I? Reopen my closed tab. Reopen my closed tab. There it is. Did you know you could do that, by the way? I learned that from my students. I made the mistake, what I did a moment ago is I closed this tab like this. I went, oops, I didn't want to close that tab. Now what, I got to open a new tab, I got to log in again, you guys are waiting. No, it doesn't have to be that way. Because I'm using Chrome and because Google's awesome, right click on any tab, doesn't matter which one, any tab, and hit reopen closed tab. It'll open the last tab that you just closed. And in fact, I could say, how about the last one I just did before this one? Reopen that closed tab, and that was the spreadsheet. So it goes back in time, so you never have the oops in front of the class. I think all teachers should know that because, of course, you're presenting and you want to not have kids waiting for you to fix the technology. Just right-click and reopen the closed tab. So that's I learned that from one of my 7th graders taught me that, and I was glad that we figured that out. All right, so where was I going here? I was going to go to, I'll email that report to myself. All right, we're going to do the exit ticket. Notice from our main home screen here, they got the button right there ready to go. And the reason why you'll see this is not that impressive is it's just Socrative. They made a 3-question quiz that any one of us could have made, but they just made a shortcut to it. So click one button, and you guys may take it now. I think you're going to be asked, answer the teacher's question will be one of them. I probably should switch so I can see that too. Did I close my... Yeah, I'm pretending I'm a student now on this screen. All right, so question 1 is, how well did you get it? Question 2 is, what did you learn in today's class? Give us that open-ended choice. And question 3 is, please answer the teacher's question. They used to say, answer the question on the board, but then they realized not all teachers have a board in their class. That it's not a universal thing. So my question to you is, what's your favorite thing about FETC? That'll be my question number 3 to you. Please answer the teacher's question. What is your favorite thing about FETC? So now I can switch back. Yes, question in the back.
When you, reading an teacher exam,
Mhm.
someone comes in
Nope, it will join them in where you currently are at. So if like right now someone joined in, it should start with asking what's your name, and it would run right into it. So when it's a teacher-paced example though, it won't let you go back to what you didn't answer. It'll just join you in at that moment in time. That's right. Teacher-paced only progresses forward. The student-paced one allows them to navigate forwards and backwards. And that was one of the big reasons why they wanted a version 2.0. There was a lot of requests about that, to allow students to go back in time if they want to change their answer. Are you sure that you went to beta.socrative.com? And are we sure we did the room number as ROBZ? I'll double check that. And I don't think case matters, but I have it all as lowercase, so if you just want to type in ROBZ lowercase. And if all else fails, refresh the browser, and that sometimes is the trick. Yep, just do all lowercase, yep. Oh, and that's another thing, it'll always be on the screen too. For those that just walk in the room, and they need to see it, it'll be up there so people can always see it no matter what screen you're on. They'll have it at the top. All right, so moving on, we can now look at the results. Here it's kind of hard to see the results, of course. So what I can do, I just drill down to, let me go back and show you that again. Oh, didn't want to go that far back. Quiz in progress, there we go. So from here, I'm going to say, okay, let's see, what did people say about question 3? I can click on question 3, and now I could say, show me those names, and show me those answers. And I can scroll down and look at it this way. Of course, I can send it to the email and look at it on the spreadsheet later, but if I'm interested right now to look at it, I can go through and see what things people put in as their answers. And to get back, you go right here to quiz in progress, and you're back to the main interface there, I think. Oh, there you go. They want you to do that. Back to results table, so you got to choose that instead. So here we are back on here. Again, let's take a look at question 2. And we can say, show me the names, show me the answers. Yeah, you could do that too. That's right. They were in my screenshot class before the screencasting. So you could use Snagit, take a screenshot of it if need be. But let's just end it and we say finish and say, there you go, email me that report. And in a matter of seconds, I'll be able to check it out on a spreadsheet format. And so that's the ticket out the door, the exit ticket example. All right, next up is the space race. This is where the gamification comes in. This one's a little tricky. Any science teachers in the room? All right, this is going to be a chemistry example here, the periodic table. So I made this one pretty tough, so it's going to be challenging for you guys. But I'm going to do this in what they call the space race. And this allows you now to gamify it. I can have collaboration in here. Now to me this looks a little different. I think they've changed this. So it actually has a nice interface though. The one I want is my periodic table quiz. The number of teams I get to do, oh, there used to be 10 was the max. Now I can do more. So let's do this. We have what, 13 people in the room? I'm going to make 5 teams. So some of those teams are going to have 2 people on it, some are going to have 3 people on it. So let's go with 5 teams in the room. And assigning team colors. Here's your options. If it's auto-assigned, Socrative will decide which one of you is on the green team, the blue team, the red team, the yellow team. It'll be totally randomized. That might be helpful in some situations. Or in other situations, you know your students. You might say, I want a blend of kids. You're a smart person, so you're red team. You're not a smart person, so you're on the red team. So you can say like, you wouldn't say that, of course, out loud, but you would walk around the room and give them the color. So just for convenience sake, I'm gonna go ahead and say auto assign and start activity. So you will now see on your screen, I'm gonna minimize it here. You're gonna be asked for your name, of course, as usual. And then it will tell you what color you are based on the top bar at the top. So you know I'm on the lime team. I happen to jump in. So go ahead and progress through, trying to guess those right answers. And as you get it right, looks like the violet team right now is in the lead. Ooh, but the blue team just caught up. And so did the peach team. The magenta and lime teams are really falling behind. And you'll see I tried to give you little hints, like how do you remember well, I shouldn't say it because I'll give the answer, but how I remembered in 11th grade chemistry class what these symbols stood for. So we do have to visually look, 'cause there we go, violet is the winning team. It does not flash or tell you a percentage. So first place is violet, second place is peach, and now we're waiting for our third place team, which could be a tie. And I bet you the lime team's not going to win because I actually jumped into that and I'm not answering it. So that's, if you're on the lime team, you're at a slight disadvantage there. So our third place winner is going to be, is right now tied between blue and magenta.
There's a color on here. You answered it, mine was purple. Violet.
And actually, here's a downside. I don't know when to call it quits because I don't know right now when all of you guys are at the end. That might be,
Space race is still in progress.
I think it's going to still say that no matter what. Oh, maybe not. There you go. Oh, no, it came back. I don't think you can. No, there's no interactivity like that. So what would we want to see here? We would want to see a percentage like
Space race in progress.
like percent done or that fraction done. If I hit that, no, it just stays on the screen. I think that's just an indicator. What I would suggest is if it would say like 13 out of 15 are done, and we'll watch 14 out of 15 are done, and now 15 out of 15 are done. So maybe that would be helpful because they do that for the other questions. Maybe that would work there too. So as I said, there's no indication of who got there first. Maybe that for the engineers, that would be another nice little feature to add. Maybe put like a little flashing. This would like flash that it got first or something, or I don't know, something that would let people know. So that's the gamification piece. That was collaborating. You just didn't know who you were collaborating with because we made it auto-assigned. So that is a fun little gimmick way of doing the quizzes. And again, I can email reports, so now I get to see the breakdown of how everybody did. Yes?
How does it work inside the team? Some people got it wrong, versus some people did it.
Good question. If you get it wrong, nothing happens with the movement of your spaceship. If you get it right, it moves. If more people get it right, it moves more and more and more. I don't know what the increments are, though. Like, I don't know if it moves 10% when you get it right. There must be some mathematical calculation there. But bottom line is if you get it wrong, there's just no movement. So technically, quiz could be over and you didn't reach the end because nobody was able to get all right answers or majority right answers. So it's limited in that fashion, but it is, at least it's a start to show us how we can collaborate and gamify the process of taking quizzes. Yes, in the back.
For the space race category, it's always teacher-based. It's always for a student to go into space race and work independently at home.
Wait, I think you mean the opposite. Space race is always student-paced.
I'm sorry, teacher-led within the classroom. You wouldn't do it independent. You would do a space race at home after homework finished.
That's right, because you would need it to be like everybody on at the same time. So I guess you could do it. You could say, hey, if you guys want to do it tonight, 8:30 tonight, we're going to do a space race. So those of you that want to do it, log in at 8:30 and I'll push out the space race. So you could do that. Right. Someday when we solve that, where every child has a internet-connected device 24/7, then we can really do some really cool stuff, I think. But
The teacher decides when.
when to launch it, yes. And once it's launched, it's student-led from that point forward. Yep. Yes.
Even the teacher could go to the pre-code, launch it later.
Yeah, to preset it so it automatically goes. Yeah. To pre-schedule. Yeah. See, these are things I think that the engineers could do, but my theory is they might make those like paid premium features. A lot of these companies do that to give you the basic functionality that get you hooked, and then you start saying, well, it'd be cool if it did this. And you can say, well, it does if you pay $4 a month or whatever the case is. So,
At the same time, they're not in a classroom anymore, typically when they're creating something.
Yeah.
So they
Right.
use a little site to the day-to-day, and they wouldn't know necessarily all those little idiosyncrasies that we would appreciate.
yeah. And I remember when I was at a conference in Rochester, there was a teacher presenting this. That might be where I found out about this years ago. And he said, oh, hang on, everybody. And he turned away, and we were like, what's he doing? He said, I just launched it for my third period class. They're going to take the quiz that you guys are going to take. We were like, whoa, you did that from here for there? So that's the power of it. You could be anywhere at any time in launch questions and get that feedback. So back to my outline so I don't get off track here. Next thing is we kind of have done this already, analyzing results. I just wanted to highlight once again that you have, where's my email? You have show me the new messages. And the last thing we did was this one. And if we go open with Google Sheets, we have that ability to sort things. And I think I showed it briefly before. I like to sort by alphabetical names because maybe I'm going to transfer these grades in somewhere if I really was going to use it. So in Google Slides, Google Sheets, you could say sort it A to Z. And there you go, alphabetical by name. Might be first name or last name. Or if I want to numerize these, show me the hundreds at the top. So I would say, David and Kelly, you guys get the gold star for perfect scores today. And then it goes down to the bottom, of course, like so. So that's how we have our results, and you can analyze them right from that spreadsheet.
About 41 to having